Good Thursday evening and welcome to the NCWLIFE Evening News. I'm Grant Olson. Before we get to today's top news stories, let's take that look outside our weather window from this afternoon. And how about this gorgeous shot? Looking back at the Wenatchee Valley, I think, Uriah, I think that's what that is. And what a beautiful shot with the sun shining through the clouds. And those clouds that are moving in, by the way, just ahead of that storm system that we've been talking about all week. We'll talk more about that. But let's just take a look at the timeline as we move into this storm, as we get into Friday. Snow will be moving in. Colder air will be moving down. Light snow will develop mainly tomorrow morning. Then we'll see some wet snow increasing in the afternoon for tomorrow. By tomorrow night, also some snow will fall, although our temperatures will stay a little warmer than we originally thought, so we don't expect a lot of accumulation here in Wenatchee, but other parts of our viewing area certainly will see some snow, and we'll talk more about that coming up a little bit later on. And now a few of the stories we're following for you tonight. Information on a pair of recent drug raids in Grant County was released Wednesday, with 5 people in 2 towns facing a variety of drug and weapons charges. A Peshastin man suspected for more than 20 years of sexually abusing children in his care has finally entered a guilty plea. And the Chelan County PUD is looking at whether and how to shut off parts of its power grid during major wind and fire events. But first, we begin tonight. One man was injured Wednesday when a gas stove in his travel trailer exploded at an RV park near Rock Island. The explosion was reported about 4:55 p.m. at Marine RV Park. That's just off Highway 28. Responding firefighters found a man with severe blistering to his face and hand. He was taken for treatment to Central Washington Hospital. There was no further spread of the fire to neighboring vehicles. Well, information on a pair of recent drug raids in Grant County was released Wednesday, with 5 people in 2 towns facing a variety of drugs and weapons charges. First, on September 23rd, the Grant County Interagency Narcotics Team, or INET, served a search warrant on a home in Warden where they reported finding methamphetamine, a marijuana manufacturing operation, heroin, and a stolen firearm. Arrested were 27-year-old Derek J. Duplachon, 28-year-old Joshua A. Jenkins, and 36-year-old Nancy M. Matahano. On October 15th, INET raided a home in the Larson housing community in Moses Lake, where 56-year-old James S. Urbach and 63-year-old Dennis Richard Johnson were both arrested on meth charges. Urbach faces charges of possession with intent to distribute a controlled substance and possession to distribute within 1,000 feet of a designated school bus stop. Johnson was arrested for possession of meth. A Peshastin man suspected for more than 20 years of sexually abusing children in his care has finally entered a guilty plea. NCWLIFE's Jefferson Robbins was in court today. He says Theron J. Heidemann is looking at a possible sentence of 16 years in prison.
Yeah, my understanding is this is on for a plea-only hearing today.
That's correct.
Yes, Your Honor.
And are the parties ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
We are, Judge.
Theron J. Heidemann, long accused of sexually abusing children in his household, but never criminally charged until 2017, pleaded guilty Thursday to 3 counts of first-degree child rape.
These acts occurred in Chelan County, Washington, on the dates identified in the charging information. Is that a true statement, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that what happened?
Yes, Your Honor.
54-year-old Heidemann faces a likely sentence of 189 months in prison, almost 16 years, when he's sentenced on December 17th. He has no prior criminal history, despite sex abuse investigations going back to 1999. In March 2017, adult victims who lived in Heidemann's home as children began to come forward and disclose their abuse. He initially faced 14 counts of child rape and sexual abuse, involving 4 victims. The plea agreement with the Chelan County Prosecuting Attorney's Office involves offenses against 3 victims between roughly 2001 and 2014. From 1999 to 2009, Heidemann was accused multiple times of sexual and physical abuse carried out against his own children while living in Wenatchee. But police and social service agencies said the children's statements were contradictory, and the alleged victims often withdrew their accusations. In 2011, 3 of Heidemann's grown children sued the State Department of Social and Health Services, claiming the agency failed to properly investigate their claims. 7 years later, DSHS settled that case with a $2.5 million payment to Heidemann's alleged victims. The agency did not admit wrongdoing. Jefferson Robbins, NCWLIFE.
In other news, the Chelan County PUD is looking at whether and how to shut off parts of its power grid during major wind and fire events. That's just one tool for dealing with ongoing fire risk to north central Washington communities and infrastructure. PUD staff said on Monday that they've been strategically fortifying the electric grid against wildfire, including putting in steel poles and using fire retardant paint. The utility has also adopted higher standards for tree trimming and line inspection, and it's considering moving some power lines underground in a few areas that are identified as rural, isolated, and at high risk of fires. Coming up next, drive-through COVID-19 testing managed by the Chelan Douglas Health District in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee has been canceled for tomorrow in anticipation of the forecasted winter-like weather. East Wenatchee Police Chief Rick Johnson and Officer Miguel Valdez stopped by Eastmont High School on Tuesday to show off the police department's newest vehicle. And East Wenatchee Police Chief Rick Johnson, I just mentioned that, also coming up. I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Stay with us.
Traditional values and innovation in honoring the life of each family we serve is part of the ministry of Heritage Memorial Chapel. Our staff is committed to walk with your family with compassion through this time of grief. We are here to help and here to serve, the right kind of help when you need it most. Heritage Memorial Chapel.
So Pam, how's your mom doing?
She's okay. She's struggling. She'd like to stay in her house, and it's getting harder for her to do the daily chores.
What kinds of problems is she having?
Just basic house cleaning, taking care of her house, yard work, taking care of her medicine.
Mm-hmm. It does sound exhausting.
It is very exhausting, and I always worry about her.
Aging in Adult Care can assist you or your loved one to remain comfortably and safely in their own home. Contact them today to start the conversation.
Welcome back. In another news, drive-through COVID-19 testing managed by the Chelan Douglas Health District in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee has been canceled for tomorrow in anticipation of the forecasted winter-like weather. Testing was planned at Wenatchee High School and New Song Community Church. Testing will be available Friday at Confluence Health, located at 615 North Emerson Avenue, for those people who are experiencing COVID-19 symptoms or who have been exposed to someone with COVID-19. Free drive-through testing will resume next week as scheduled at Wenatchee High School from 1 o'clock to 6 p.m. from October 27th to the 30th. As of yet, there is no testing rescheduled at New Song Community Church for next week. East Wenatchee Police Chief Rick Johnson and Officer Miguel Valdez stopped by Eastmont High School on Tuesday to show off the police department's newest vehicle. The Cruiser is a 2020 Ford utility hybrid and features a large scenic photo of East Wenatchee as well as the Eastmont Wildcat logo. Well, after a water main burst in Ellensburg last week, Water Street lived up to its name. Just after 4 a.m. on October 12th, the broken main water line in the 200 block of West 2nd Avenue sent a river down Water Street, creating what police temporarily called Lake Kittitas. During the cleanup, a bone was found that had Ellensburg police wondering if it was human. Police said today that testing determined it was not. But City Street Department crews also found a very old bottle that has police wondering what it one day held. Snake oil, magic potion, and just in time for Halloween, witch's brew were three possibilities floated by police. If you think you might know, the Ellensburg Police Department welcomes you to join the speculations on their Facebook page. You're watching the NCWLIFE Evening News. Coming up next, tonight's features story and your complete local weather forecast. That and much more still to come on the NCWLIFE Evening News. Please stay with us.
Here's to 5 billion miles of amazing. 5 billion miles of...
This is so cool.
5 billion miles of helping you stay safe. 5 billion miles of passing the pump. 5 billion miles of... That's 5 billion miles driven around the world. The all-electric 2020 Nissan Leaf.
The extended range 2020 Leaf is now available at Town Nissan, right behind Costco in East Wenatchee.
Hi, Stephen DeVilbiss here, Branch Manager of Beneficial and Home Care. We are an equal opportunity employer and we do not discriminate in employment or services. It is our mission to maximize our clients' physical health and sense of mental well-being while remaining in the comfort of their home. We are currently seeking professional caregivers who share our mission to help our clients live safely and comfortably at home. Call Beneficial and Home Care. Schedule your interview today. 509-663-7900.
Hope, oxygen to your soul, color in your world, a light to your future.
Difficult to qualify and quantify,
Yet you know when it's lacking.
so many things have promised us hope.
But have left us feeling hopeless and empty.
Real hope is able to stand firm even on the darkest day of the soul and still say with the prophet Jeremiah,
For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord.
Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future.
The Apostle Paul declared to a young church in Rome,
May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace.
as you trust in him.
So that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit.
If our God is a God of hope, then maybe it's your turn to experience a hope that cannot be shaken
or destroyed.
And maybe it's time to hope again.
Maybe it's time to become a generation of hope. What if the same God that raised Christ Jesus from the dead
And resurrect your hope.
Maybe it's time to hope again.
Welcome back to the NCWLIFE Evening News. Well, as election night approaches, NCWLIFE and its news partners teamed up last night to host a forum for candidates in for Chelan County Commissioner and 12th District state legislators. In tonight's feature story, local journalists from NCWLIFE, KPQ Radio, and the Wenatchee World quiz those candidates. Here's what County Commissioner hopefuls Dale England and Tiffany Gehring had to say about policing and social services.
Among many other duties, the Chelan County Board of Commissioners holds the purse strings for departments, including the Chelan County Sheriff's Office. This is a $12 million agency. It's second only to county roads in its expenditures. Meanwhile, the county spends a total of $1.2 million on a combination of mental health services, veterans relief, and homelessness. Social justice movements such as Black Lives Matter have advocated moving funds away from armed policing and specifically towards projects like these, where they say it would do the most social good and prevent crime and impoverishment on the other end. Would you advocate for a greater share of the county budget to go toward these social services? And if so, where would that money come from?
Thank you. My time with the Sheriff's Office, many of the people we dealt with had mental health issues. And I think to defund or to move money away from the Sheriff's Office is a mistake, because they are the ones out there 24 hours a day responding. We don't have the facilities or the manpower in our vast county to have mental health people riding with every deputy. There are oftentimes, one deputy between Cashmere and Lake Wenatchee. Hopefully with scheduling, there's more than that. But I think involving the deputies in the communities, getting to know individuals, they then have a bigger interest in working with these people. On the same tone, the citizens show more respect and willingness to work with the deputies when they know who the deputies are. When both parties become individuals to each other, they have a more personal contact
I think that every budget should be on the table every year, really to assess, dissect, see if there's anywhere that can be cut, places that can be improved. So there have to be places, and we have to make those hard decisions. I am a firm believer. My dad was a reserve police officer. I am a huge supporter of police officers. I'm a huge supporter of good police officers. I do think that there needs to be more money spent on reform, that mental health is just increasing, and every year the situation gets worse. And so I'm not opposed to sitting down with the sheriff, to looking at that budget and moving monies around. I think that would absolutely be beneficial to all the officers involved. And I really don't think any officer is going to refuse more training that's going to help them deal with people that are mentally ill. So I see that as a really good thing, that we make sure we're on top of things every year. We're revising, and you know, we stay on our toes, essentially.
All right, time now for a check of that north central Washington weather forecast. It's going to go from fall to winter real quick. We'll get to those details in a second, but first let's head outside and take a look at the beautiful Wenatchee Valley and the sun shining through the clouds coming down this afternoon. Really, it wasn't a bad day. Temperatures weren't all that warm, but with that sun, it felt pretty nice out there. And thank you to Sky 5 for providing that beautiful video for us this afternoon. Today's high temperature unofficially at 52 degrees, and that is about 5 degrees below where we should be this time of year at 57. About where we should be this morning. It felt kind of chilly though, didn't it? 36 to start our day. 39 is a normal low temperature. Record high 72 set back in 2003. Record low 27 degrees in 1984. Sunrise this morning 7:30 and sunset now before 6 p.m. It'll set for us tonight at 5:59. Let's take a peek now at that Friday temperatures. We're not going to get into details yet because there's a lot to get to, but you can see temperatures are falling, and they will fall big time tomorrow. 44 for Moses Lake, lower 40s for Quincy and Ephrata. We're not going to even make 40 in the Wenatchee area tomorrow at 38, 35 for Leavenworth, 37 for Chelan and Entiat, and 36 is all for a high temperature up in Omak. As we get to our surface loop, we'll show you why. But first tonight, here's the three weather systems that are affecting us right now. High pressure off the coast will be a player later in the week. Here's the area of low pressure that'll bring us the moisture, and this big trough right here is supplying the cold air, and as all that comes together, this is what we've got for tomorrow. Rain showers, heavy at times in western Washington. It looks like most of the snow now will stay to our north and to our east. We'll have to wait and see. Some locations might get missed altogether down by the Tri-Cities. Temperatures for Friday, much colder as we just showed you, with highs only ranging from about 35 to 45 degrees. As we get into Saturday, that storm system will push all the way down into the central Rockies, bringing most of the activity into Montana and the Dakotas. We will see sunshine and cold temperatures. Saturday highs, once again, just struggling to get out of the 30s to near 40 degrees, and not much change by Sunday. Here's that area of high pressure and that big trough of cold air, and it's seeping down into Washington State too, so expect a cold Sunday. The good news is at least we'll see some sunshine. For Monday, mostly sunny. Temperatures will remain well below normal, but the good news, this stuff is all moving away and eroding away. You can see by Tuesday, we're back to the green and yellow colors, which at least gets us into the 40s and some 50s in southeastern Washington. By Tuesday, mostly sunny, as we mentioned. Wednesday, the same, and we will see even warmer temperatures. Look at all those clear skies. High pressure will nudge inland just a bit, and that'll drag some warmer air our way. So expect highs by Wednesday back to near 50 degrees. Let's take a look now at your Patriot Plumbing, Heating and Cooling 7-day forecast. 34 overnight tonight, a cold one. 38 tomorrow, a 90% chance for snow. We might see some rain mixed in too. Not expecting a lot of accumulation here in the Wenatchee area, but a way different story for you folks in the Methow Valley and the Waterville Plateau. 40 degrees and sunny on Saturday, 41 for Sunday. We'll stay in the low 40s for Monday before we see a slow warming trend. 46 by Tuesday. Wednesday, and by midweek next week, mostly sunny and 50 degrees. And that's a look at your local weather forecast. Coming up next, tonight's sports report with Eric Granstrom and more as the NCWLIFE Evening News continues right after this.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Pybus Public Market's motto is where community meets. Whether it's people, enjoying an event, or they meet a colleague for coffee and whip out their laptop and are able to actually do work here, having quick and reliable Wi-Fi is one of the things that makes Pybus such a great community hub. It just contributes to the welcoming place that we want Pybus to be. I'm Allie, and fiber keeps people connected, and that's what Pybus Market is all about.
And now it's a sports update on the NCWLIFE channel.
And a happy Thursday to you. Going into last night's Game 2 of the World Series, Tampa Bay's Brandon Lau was hitting just .107 for the postseason. He was 6 for 56 and struggling. Manager Kevin Cash was even asked questions about leaving him in the number 2 spot in the lineup. Cash simply said, "I'm going with my guy." Well, going with his guy certainly paid off last night as Lau smashed home runs in the first and fifth innings, driving in 3 runs and helping Tampa Bay even the series at a game apiece by downing the Dodgers 6-4. Lau says it felt great to get the bat on the ball for a change.
To say that my mind wasn't going different places during that kind of struggle would be lying to you. There were times that I wasn't feeling too good, but that's what is so great about this team, this coaching staff, and like that. As soon as I started dragging my feet, somebody was right there to pick me up and tell me to, focus up and let's get going. And just pure joy going into that dugout after hitting that home run. I mean, everybody's happy, everyone's jumping up and down. It's not an individual thing out there; it's everyone with the team, and whatever helps the team win.
Lau's offensive onslaught backed up a solid game on the mound by Blake Snell. The left-hander threw 4 2/3 innings of 2-run ball with 9 strikeouts. Snell says they had a good game plan heading in.
I just had a good game plan for these guys, and I was able to watch them game 1, so it gave me a lot more input on what I wanted to do today. But I just wanted to attack them, make them start swinging, and I felt like I had a good game plan. So obviously not going to share too much because I'm probably going to have to face him again. But I would just say I had a solid game plan and it worked, but we got to get better.
Manuel Margot collected a couple of hits while Joey Wendell drove in 3 runs for Tampa Bay. Manager Kevin Cash certainly proud of his guys all the way around.
Blake was really, really good. I know him and Kyle talked a lot leading into the game about a game plan. He followed it. He executed pitches. The slider, from my vantage point, looked like it was a really big weapon for him. He was awesome. Gave us everything that we needed. The biggest reason, what makes us all believe it, is he's shown over time that he's a really good hitter, really good player. And sometimes, guys, you got to allow them to go through some tough patches, and he's been in one. But man, it was exciting for the first home run, and the second one, really ignited him. And we've seen, look, you've seen it, you've covered him. He can go quiet for a little while, but he can get as hot as anybody in baseball. Hopefully that's the trend that we're looking at going forward. Brandon Lau had a big night for us.
Both teams will have the day off today to think about Game 3, which is tomorrow night at 5:08 on Fox. Walker Buehler goes for L.A., and Charlie Morton will go for Tampa Bay. Well, ESPN's Adam Schefter is reporting that the Seahawks are going after wide receiver Antonio Brown. The troubled veteran was reinstated by the NFL Wednesday and worked out with Russell Wilson in the offseason. Now, Coach Pete Carroll was asked if Seattle is interested in acquiring Brown.
Have endeavored to be in on everything that's going on, and John has done a marvelous job of always being tuned into what's happening, and this is no exception, so we'll see what happens, as we go forward, but we're tuned into what's happening there.
With a player like that, how much digging do you have to do into his troubles, both on the field and with teams, and into what has happened off the field?
Yeah, we're nowhere there right now, so let's wait and see what happens and all that. But we do all of the homework we can think of doing. I mean, we will never think that we can leave a stone unturned, and so that's how we how we approach everything, and so we'll continue to do that here.
So meanwhile, the Seahawks are preparing for their first division game of the season Sunday in Arizona. Carroll says Seattle's defense will certainly have its hands full with a ton of talent in the Cardinals' offense.
You can't watch this team without watching Kyler Murray and seeing what his effect on the game. He's a game changer. Athleticism, poise, playmaking ability, and all of that. And they've got guys around him. Kenyon Drake is an explosive football player, as we saw again on Monday night. Remembered all the things that he's done in the past. Receivers are terrific. This is really, it's a really good team to be dealing with. It happens to be division time for us. We want to play it just like it's a championship game, like we do every week, and go for it and do everything we can to get a great win. So I don't know about you, I'm all fired up about it. Can't wait to get to practice today.
Now, the NFL has announced that the game on Sunday has been flexed into the night game on NBC. Kickoff is now set for 5:20 instead of 1:05. Flexed out of the Sunday night game were the Raiders and Buccaneers. By the way, 1,200 fans will be allowed at State Farm Stadium to watch Sunday's contest. Well, the Wenatchee Wild are in Idaho for the first 2 days of scrimmages. How nice is that? A little bit of normalcy back in our lives. After a couple of weeks of practice here in Wenatchee, Wilder and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho to scrimmage at the Frontier Ice Arena. They'd hoped to have the scrimmage broadcast on Hockey TV, but they had some technical difficulties. Hopefully they'll get that figured out for tomorrow. By the way, Wenatchee Wild hockey tonight on Hockey Night here on the NCWLIFE channel. Tonight's game is from last November 30th between the Wild and the Langley Rivermen. Big Nine football takes center stage tomorrow at 6:30. Wenatchee hosting Sunnyside. Then Saturday at 2, tune in for West Valley Girls and Wenatchee Soccer. That's followed at 6 by racing from Wenatchee Valley Super Oval from last July. We'll think about nice, toasty, warm weather at the racetrack rather than the cold, snowy weather possibly coming up this weekend. That's sports news. I'm Eric Grandstrom. Grant, back to you.
And thank you very much, Eric. Now let's check in with Dan Koontz for a look at what's coming up tomorrow morning on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Dan?
Thank you very much, Grant. Tomorrow is Friday. We love Fridays because that means, of course, the weekend comes our way. This is Curly Howard, by the way, my little curly head here from the Three Stooges. It's his birthday today. I used to have a Larry and a Moe. It was 3 matching little heads here. I got them as a gift. Larry and Moe were eaten by my dog, but I was able to save Curly. See? Isn't that cool? Anyway, watch the show tomorrow. We'll find out what happens. We'll see you Friday at 7 a.m. Grant, back to you.
Thank you, Dan. You're all three wrapped into one. And that's going to do it for our newscast tonight. For more on these stories and other news from around North Central Washington, you can find us on Facebook or our website at ncwlife.com. And remember, if you see news happening, we'd like to hear from you. You can send us an email at news@ncwlife.com or give us a call at 888-6295. I'm Grant Olson. Thanks for joining us and have a great night.
Hi, my name is Blaine Johnson. I'm at Global Elite Motors. We're tied in with Global Car Care down here locally. So we're not your typical car buying experience. Somebody can come down here, take a look at what we have, and if we have the right vehicle for you, we'd be glad to help you out with it. A lot of times we are able to go out and find specific vehicles for somebody so that it fits their needs, their budget, and all the things that you want without you being obligated right away. If you're looking for a good, reliable car, come see me, Blaine Johnson, down at Global Elite Motors.
For all the latest news in North Central Washington, go to ncwlife.com or find us on Facebook. Got a news tip? Email us at news@ncwlife.com or call 888-2020.
Hey everyone, Fletcher and Amy Ellingson here from Live It Up. Join us every week as we answer your questions on health, wealth, and relationships.
We're all about you creating a life that you love, so tune in to Live It Up.